Hello, Galaxy! I'm Chris Pirillo, and you've tuned in to another live advice stream direct from me to you. Yes, we are live on the internet one more time. Today, we're going to be talking about microtransactions and pay-to-win, specifically tips around these shortcomings, at least within the gaming industry. A little while ago, that is at least a few days ago, EA released a new game titled Battlefront 2. This was exciting for me, because it's a Star Wars game, and I get excited when there's new Star Wars stuff, like this t-shirt I got on Cyber Monday. Check it out! I'm not sure how that looked back there, because I can't get a preview of what you see when I'm not looking at the camera. So, there was a kerfuffle around this particular edition of Battlefront, in stark contrast to the original release of Battlefront, about a decade before the new first Battlefront was released a couple of years ago. There was even another Battlefront 2, and those games, at least as far as Star Wars video games are concerned, had longer playability. I played Battlefront 1, although I didn't really enjoy it, because the only way to play Battlefront 1, the new Battlefront 1 a couple years ago, was to play online against others. That was not a good idea for someone who's really a casual gamer. I then saw Battlefront 2 would be coming with a story mode, a campaign, which was, more up my alley, as well as a solo play. So you don't have to pay more to play Battlefront 2 once you've paid for the game. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that just playing that campaign was worth the price of admission. It isn't. If you were just going to want to play the standalone story, I think you can wait another year until it's like half off. Or you can buy a used edition of Battlefront 2 on your platform of choice. In fact, I have the other problem, at least on my particular platform of choice, the way that I've decided to play Battlefront 2, insofar as in order to play online, which may add value to the game, you have to pay to play online. So that's like, what, $50 a year to get online access to play with others online? Maybe that's worth it to you. But then that suddenly makes this $50 game, sorry, I paid $47, $47 game, not including tax, so maybe it was right around $50 anyway, it makes it worth $100. I don't like that. That's something I like, but I realize that a lot of people who were complaining about these microtransactional models, or the pay-to-win type of models, were upset for completely different reasons. Not the least of which funnels back into the primary point that people who play these video games, whether they call themselves gamers or just people who play these video games, whether they happen to be Star Wars video games or not, don't want to be nickel and dimed. I'm with you. I am using Star Wars as my example because you know, or you should know, just how much I love Star Wars. But a few months ago, they had released, the infamous they, some random company that develops mobile games, released a mobile app that would allow me to effectively play one of those puzzle matching things. I think it's called Puzzle Droids. I don't know. I played it for like 3 days. It was interesting. It was fun. But I really stopped playing the moment the game said, hey, you've run out of whatever the heck it is that you have to use in order to advance, so you got to cool your jets for like 4 hours or something. I'm like, what? Hang on. So I'm enjoying the game, and then you're telling me that in order to play, past this point, I have to wait 4 hours or spend like $5 on these magical coins or whatever they are, these features, in order to continue to play then? Like, I don't love the game that much. I don't even love Star Wars that much. And that was the moment that I kind of cooled my jets on that model, this microtransaction, right? So if I was really itching to play that game and I really loved Star Wars that much, I may be willing to plunk down another $5 to advance. This microtransactional model, however, catches up with you pretty darn quickly. So, the way to avoid microtransactions is don't play the game. I know, that's a horrible tip, especially if you want to play the game. Don't play the game. Or wait. That's a horrible tip, I know. Because the only other way around that is to effectively not pay $1 here and $1 there, so that before you know it, you've racked up $50 worth of these virtual coins to play a game that, quite honestly, is just a passing fancy. It's a flash in the pan. There will be another new mobile game, and that's the thing. My tip, my suggestion, is to avoid playing the game. Yes, but find a viable alternative. One that just doesn't have microtransactional models. One that once you purchase for $5, you kind of got to get over the idea that everything's going to be free, right? Would you rather spend $5 up front to play unlimited, or would you rather, be playing for free, putting up with ads, if that's the model, or just paying $1 here and $1 there? Everyone's got a different, path to go on. But my alternative is to find one to pay for. Okay, this is this type of game. I can find an alternative, because the chances of there being a viable alternative to a game that uses microtransactions in order to propel itself forward, they're pretty high. But the thing is, you're going to have to pay money. That's on the mobile app. Mind you, for Battlefront 2 and these larger games, you have to pay money just to get access to the game, right? That's not including all the microtransactions that might come down the pike. Like, well, you need this, well, you got to pay for that. You want that, you got to pay for this. So the only option is to wait or find an alternative. I don't think there's an alternative to Star Wars. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some people have tried. There's just no alternative. But remember, I'm old school. I remember microtransactional models growing up in the 80s. That's right. That's what we didn't call them. We called them arcade games. You go to an arcade when they had arcades. They still have arcades. They're more like barcades, like for adults or kidults. The children of the 80s. And in order to play, you had to throw in a quarter. And you got maybe 3 lives. And if you were lucky, you survived past 5 minutes. In order to play again, if you could continue where you left off, or if you had to start over, you still had to plunk in another 25 cents. That's a microtransactional model. And before you know it, at an arcade, you've blown through $20 a night. So the model isn't new at all. It's just a heck of a lot more frictionless, if I can say it that way. It's easier to do. It's impulsive. Like, yeah, I'm not actually forking over hard cash. I'm just pressing a button. I'll worry about it later. And here's the thing. The companies that are building these games for microtransactions are actually making a lot of money. I'm not going to call the people who do this wrong on either side. One, these gaming companies have a fantastic model where they're making money. And 2, people are obviously spending the money. So they're getting what they want. Whose loss is this? Well, in a grander way, I think it's the loss of what brought so many of us to love video games. But again, I'm going to put myself in the square of, I avoid microtransactional models by playing retro games. When I say retro, I'm talking like the classics, like going all the way back, like Asteroids. Like, Pac-Man and Dig Dug, the classics. They've upgraded these games to support microtransactions where you can pay $1 here and $1 there to get this, that, and the other thing, but I don't need that. So play some retro games. Seriously. Fall in love with a retro game. That's another tip I would have. Now, I'm also doing this live, so I don't know how many other people are throwing tips in back here, and I'm going to check the chat. I don't think we've received any super chats during this particular broadcast, but as far as paying to win is concerned, so this is another thing that I guess got me in trouble. Some people slagged me for purchasing Battlefront 2 because according to their stance, like, you're just enabling the system. If you buy Battlefront 2, you're telling EA that the way they did it was the right way. I don't agree with that, if only because I'm purchasing the game for $47 and I'm going to play it and get $47 worth of value out of the game without spending a dime. So EA is going to know I played the game but didn't spend any more than I needed to in the game. They caught a lot of flack insofar as originally with their loot boxes, not only was it left up to chance rather than the player's skill, which, by the way, they've taken this part of the microtransactional model off the table for now, not suggesting that it's never coming back. They may retool it. They may wait for the community's jets to cool down before they reintroduce it again. Mind you, this loot box system that was within Battlefront 2, or at least the system that was in place before, like days before it shipped, it was just one form of currency or a model within like the entire Battlefront 2 experience. It was confusing to begin with. That's another annoyance of mine when it comes to these new games. It's not that I need an instruction manual. I like jumping in and figuring out a lot of things as I go along. but they just got so needlessly complex. I mean, do I mind spending more money? No. But what I would recommend for EA is like, you know what? I'd be willing to spend another $20. You give me another story. I hear there's going to be more campaigns coming. That's something I'd be willing to pay for. It is. It enhances the gameplay for me. I don't personally want to play online, so I'm willing to save $50. Maybe you're willing to spend it. You're a different kind of user than I am. But the idea of paying to win is a very concerning model, because I think what was calculated originally with the original model of Battlefront 2, you could spend, I think it was $2,100 to basically unlock everything, and like right away, day one, you'd be able to just wipe the walls with everybody simply because you had money to burn. I think that is the wrong way to do it. Am I telling you that you shouldn't spend the money on that? No, I'm not, because I can't. If you trust me, if I had that cash, I would be not buying video game stuff. I would be buying actual Star Wars products like figures and collectibles. That's me. I would want something tangible, something that I could hold on to and appreciate for the rest of my life, that would never biodegrade or go away the moment the game became irrelevant in another year. So the idea of paying to win is a difficult hurdle to get over. I don't know if there's effectively a tip for that, because the moment you buy a game and you're playing on a field that is completely uneven and not based on player skill, that's, I think, a major problem, because then you will have enabled that system. And that's something that EA has really yet to answer. So the way that my only tip is just avoid it. And I know it's a horrible tip, but tell me any other tips that you might have. There's a reason why I'm doing this live, by the way. I'm doing it live because I figured we've got the Discord chat filled with patrons, filled with my subs on Twitch. You can join Discord chat. It's the true community back here in the videos, in the live videos. And then after we're done with this topic, I'm going to be popping over to youtube.com/LockerGnome to talk, or to basically do the LockerGnome Daily Report, TLDR for short. My cousin had a Game Genie, Super Mario 3 for the win. You know, we had a NES Advantage. Back with the Atari 2600 days, we didn't have that. But we had the NES, I think it was the Advantage. It was a big joystick thing, and it had a little button where you could toggle it, and it would basically like press start or select like off and off and off and on and off and on. It would like emulate like a slow-mo mode, you know, for precision on those games. I never really used it because it annoyed the heck out of me. You know, if you're going to go around that system on your own, I'm not going to dissuade you. It's your choice to go with something like a Game Genie. But the moment that you're interacting with other people, when it's not based on skill, it's not exactly a fair fight. When someone can basically pay to earn, not even to earn, pay to get those upgrades, or getting those upgrades not based on merit. And I think this is the bigger issue that the gaming industry has to face. So I'm not going to slag it for microtransactions. It's not what I want. It's not what I'm going to use. But in terms of pay to win, I think that it's very hostile towards core communities around these games. And let's face it, you know, Star Wars is a huge franchise, and you know, they have a chance of bungling it by continuing with these strategies. I don't think it's a good strategy to enable, nor would I endorse it. It just wouldn't be fair. And mind you, I would be the type of person to pay to get something better if I really wanted to play. You may be very skilled at something. I'm not. So what makes that fair is that we're playing on skill. So then the onus would be on the company. Allegedly, with Battlefront 1, the new Battlefront 1 from 2015, in the online matches, you were allegedly matched with players that were around your same skill level. Either I really am horrible at games, or specifically first-person shooters. I love Tetris. I will play the blocks off of Tetris. Or I was never matched fairly. I never felt I was matched fairly. So I just don't see any reason to spend your money on another game. Think twice about spending. Is that dollar really worth it? Is it an impulse buy to get you that much further ahead, or can you put that towards another resource? And I'm not even saying back another company. Just back another. Don't spend the money, which is difficult to tell people when all they want to do is spend money. Oh, I am definitely level 0. As far as gameplay is concerned, oh yeah. Mubs 1001 patron says here in Discord there. I think I'd be more inclined to pay for console content over games on smartphones. Well, you know, different players, different strokes. I'm not going to slag anybody for choosing their own path. The challenge to me, though, is providing a suggestion for when you are effectively paying to win. Like I've mentioned at least 3 ways to avoid these scenarios for you and potentially for the greater community. Vicky Gillen, another patron, says, my husband pays more for extra content every time he buys a new video game for Xbox or PlayStation. I don't even want to think about how much he just paid for Assassin's Creed Origins. I don't know. You want to buy new content? Buy new content. I'm not, like I said, I'm not gonna fault you for that. If I need to pay, I look for a way to cover that cost. So I effectively use a gift card that I earn courtesy of go.tagjag.com/free apps or go.tagjag.com/free points. These are apps you can install. I've talked about them for years. You earn gift cards. That's how I got the first PlayStation Network subscription a couple years ago that I never used. So I just stopped paying more than I needed to pay and started playing a lot more of the games that just did not annoy me. You know, the classics, the retro stuff. I'm telling you, there's a lot of retro stuff you can be discovering and rediscovering. Don't get so caught up in the new fancy graphics that you lose the value of just gameplay. You know, the simplicity of a lot of these games is, I think, overstated. There's a reason why a lot of these retro-looking types of games have been so successful in these app stores. Because they're simple. Gameplay is addictive. And more often than not, you don't get bogged down with microtransactions. Michael Jacobs says, the only thing I bought for games is for my MLB The Show games. I just want to support the company and the game. I don't mind paying for great things. I don't mind paying for great things as well. That's something that is very important. I want to pay a company that's developing a game or pay a developer if they are on the right track. If they are going to provide me more stuff that I want. I have no problem with that. I don't think anybody should have a problem with that. You know, I feel I've paid enough for one game. If I feel I paid enough for one game, I'm not going to spend any more. If there's no value that I feel I'm getting in return. But the moment it starts feeling like I'm getting nickeled and dimed for every little thing, that's when I feel like I'm the one being played, not me playing the video game. But they're making money from some people, because for some people, this is the only way to play video games. I'm telling you, reinvestigate the idea of supporting indie developers in a lot of those classic titles. I mean, there's plenty of ways of doing it and having as much fun as you're having now. Different types of games, though. Completely different types of games. I want to encourage you to support the developers who are making things that you love. I've always said that about software. I've always said that about creators. You should always support the creators that you love. I give you plenty of opportunities. I say, join Discord by becoming a patron or a sub of mine on Twitch. It's easy to support the people that are creating the things that you certainly appreciate. So I'm just looking through here. I'm not sure if I see any other particular tips from this live audience. I know that this is a hot topic, or at least was last week when people were slagging me like, rah, 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 what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Well, let me talk about what I think about this. Now's your chance, if you are so inclined. You can leave a comment if you care. Tomorrow, we're going to be covering a different topic. If you didn't like this topic, propose another one. I'm, as I mentioned before, heading over to the other YouTube channel where you can define every single topic we cover during the broadcast. YouTube.com/LockerGnome for the LockerGnome Daily Report. There's going to be expansions to the campaign with every DLC, and all DLC is free on Battlefront 2. See, there we go. I love it. That's great. Don't tell EA this, but if they're free, I'd be willing to pay for that. I'd have no problem paying $10 for an extension of a campaign. I had fun. I'd probably play it again at some point. I'm going to work on the solo missions now, and kind of build experience and whatnot for myself, because it's fun. I've been streaming the gameplay, by the way, on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Chris Pirillo. Links are in the video description. Later on tonight, I'm going to be broadcasting another creator advocate advice stream for fellow entrepreneurs and creators and independent people. If you happen to be one of those, I'd be happy to continue to help me. Help you. It's my Jerry Maguire moment. All right, everybody, I will see you over in the other channel in just a moment where we can continue the conversation. I love you. I appreciate you, and at this point I'm going to leave you to your own devices. May the Force be with you.